Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Loose Balls Podcast. I am your host, Chris, and I'm here with my co host, Eli.
Back at it again with another exciting week here.
We're going to probably continue on with our fantasy positions and things that we think are important to look at and not to look at.
Yep.
But kind of kicking off the start of the league, some big news coming in from an already struggling Saints team. Derek Carr, with an undisclosed shoulder injury, is set to look like he could miss the rest of the season. Mind you, we
Yep.
haven't even started. We've had OTAs. We have not gone to the draft yet.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. As far as I know, he just like hopped on a flight, went over to Europe, and literally no one has heard from him since. He's just over there. Like, imagine the situation right now going on in the locker room with the Saints, not really knowing what's going on with the situation, and prime like preparing for the season time. I could not even imagine what that HQ is looking like.
And you can't pay another quarterback with your salary cap unless you get Carr. Like you can say like, oh, that money doesn't count anymore, like in some way. But I think it's all kind of set up in his favor.
Yeah, it is.
So you
So,
can't
like,
get
yeah,
you
they're
can't
just
pull Kirk O'Chains.
yeah,
You can't pull Aaron Rodgers, who's still going to the Steelers. He hasn't signed yet, but for sure is going there.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
happening so late in the offseason that there's not many choices left. In fact, even
Yeah,
like quarterbacks like Joe Flacco are gone. Like he's
mhm,
with the Browns now again.
yep. I'll tell you what, pay the man, he'll play for you. I think this is quite a hilarious little situation we have going on here. I'll tell you what, if Derek Carr released like some sort of like traveler's journal about this like time he is experiencing right now over there in Europe, I would undoubtedly read that. I feel like that would be riveting emotional literature. And being able to kind of hijack a situation and a team like this so efficiently, you know, masterclass, really.
Well, I mean, what it really comes down to is now it means the Saints have to take a quarterback in the draft.
Maybe, yeah.
There's no one left to sign. You could run, I guess, 17 weeks of Spencer Radler and just chalk it up to we're gonna see what we got.
I know with like this QB class that's coming up, not there's not really any like major talent that anyone really wants to move forward with. Yeah,
So
tough.
you have two kind of choices
Hmm.
because the rest are gonna go early. Jadir
Yep.
Sanders has dropped quite a lot on the draft charts. Doesn't mean he's going to go late, but
Yeah.
has fallen.
Hmm.
And you have it's either Jackson or Jason Dart, who's projected to go at the end of the first round, but has been in an offense where he's only had to do half field reads or scripted like quick throwouts.
Hmm.
So is going to have a growing curve, which you already have in your other two quarterbacks in your quarterback room right now. So you could gamble on that. You could trade, though I don't think you have much of anything that people want to trade for anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, how much of this conversation is really just realizing that things need to go into a authentic rebuild here?
I mean, this is what we've been talking about for like the last couple weeks is it's like eh, they just refuse to admit that they're going to suck for a couple years and I think
Yeah,
Derek Carr kind of did it for him. Was like, "No, we're going to
yeah,
suck this season, guys. Like I can't play."
yep,
Which I
yep.
mean,
That's what I'm saying.
the
Force
Raiders
some
got to
hand.
be stoked that they moved on from him two
Oh,
seasons
dude.
ago because this
Oh,
has just been downhill
have
from
been.
here. Like,
Oh, have been ever since the day he left the building, no doubt.
and the
It
Saints are
has been.
probably wishing there's a lemon law for quarterbacks. Like, this has not
Yeah,
been.
yeah, 100%. Yep. Oh man.
So,
Yeah, Saints fans out there, have been in your shoes, never want to be there again. Never want to be there again.
let's see. Free agent QBs. Let's see who's even available right now. If the team was like, we're going to go for it, we're going to try. No, he
Oh,
signed. I mean, you could try.
did
No,
Matthew
he's not.
Stafford sign yet?
You could. Matthew Stafford, I think, has signed, but you could try and get Tom Brady to come out of retirement.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Okay.
they could. There's three, three that I'm
There's
like, okay, for one season for 17 games, it's not going to look pretty, but they're probably going to look better than whatever you've got. Ryan
oh,
Tannehill is still available after not playing last season. He's
wow.
not.
Okay.
The ceiling is
Casting
low.
didn't stick.
Yeah, the
Oh man.
ceiling is low because
Yeah.
he's the best that's available.
Oh, he's available. Okay.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. We're not trading. These are players that are available right now that you could sign.
Mhm.
You have Carson Wentz.
Okay. All right.
You could probably get him for cheap. Again, I think he's going to do worse than Ryan Tannehill, but he's a starter. He's been a starter,
Yeah.
so it's not the end of the world. And then, uh, I mean, I don't think this guy's going to come back, but you also could have Teddy Two Gloves and get Teddy Bridgewater. I don't, I don't
Oh.
know.
Yeah. I would see Carson Wentz before probably Teddy Bridgewater. Um. Yeah.
And then, I mean, if you were really trying to take a chance, the Riddler is still available.
There's
You
no
go
way.
Desmond
Yeah.
Ritter,
hmm
but
Like that's just pretty
again,
much like giving up. That's pretty much just giving up the season.
all three of them
Um.
are giving up the season. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a quarterback left that's available that's good. Like Tyler Huntley,
Yeah.
Jeff Driscoll, Easton Stick, CJ Bethard,
hmm
and then it's Aaron Rodgers at the top, but Aaron Rodgers isn't going to sign there because he wants to win,
Yeah. He wants to
and the
win this
Saints
season.
can't. He wants two things. He wants to win, and if he's going to win, he either wants the coach that's not going to give him what he wants, but he respects the coach,
Yeah.
or he wants to have control of the team. And the Saints have neither of those things right now. They
Yep.
don't have the salary cap to give him what he wants, and they don't have they don't have a coach that he respects.
Fair.
So it's going to be
Yeah.
rough.
Big time.
Uh, Otherwise, I mean, moving around the league, it's just not. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
The Dolphins agreed with Jalen Ramsey that they would look for a trade for him.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't. Eh.
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah. It's.
It doesn't move the radar needle for me because I think the
Mhm.
Dolphins are just skirting along in what's going to be almost playoff mediocrity.
Yep.
I don't know how I did it. I'm a Kings fan where we're stuck in mediocrity for basketball, and I'm a Dolphins fan where we're stuck in mediocrity. It's
Yeah.
like,
You had that cool time with the Dolphins, though, and a little bit with the Kings, like
yeah,
what
that's
3 years?
just it. We at the
3
same
years
time
since
they
I
both
was-
popped off, and it was a
Yeah.
great year.
Yeah.
And now we're just back to where I'm watching the writing on the wall, and it's like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley started 7 games for us last year. Like Tyler Huntley wasn't even on a team before he started for us for 7 games. It's
I mean, I guess I could say the same thing, Raiders fan after '05, right? So following them since then. And then, yeah. Um, Trailblazers fan after moving up to Oregon, right, up in 2019. So both those teams fell off as soon as I joined the bandwagon.
yeah, that's fair. But at least
Yeah.
the Raiders are on the right track. You guys have some good
Yeah.
groundwork.
Yeah.
I think,
But that's only starting this season.
yeah, I mean that's true. But you got a good coach, you got a decent QB, you've got one of the best tight ends in the league.
Yeah.
It's
To be
going the
fair,
right way.
a lot of those tight end stats I'm thinking are a little padded, just because they had a whole year kind of to develop one player. So
True.
I expect to see good tight end performance, not record setting though.
There is, I mean, in the second or third round, if you guys get a running back that's good, you're going to be set. Like
Yeah.
you got an okay receiver core, good tight end. You could
Yep.
use your first round to work on your defense. Like it's going to be
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. The league hasn't moved a whole lot in the last. That's not true. I'm sure it's moved quite a bit, and there's a lot of
The
people that are
league,
like, "Oh, what about this? What about that?" They don't matter at this point. The team
the
does not
league,
matter until after the draft.
yeah, it has been curing. It's been solidifying. When does training camp come up? Like a month or two?
It's got to be close because I think we're almost to the drafts in August, right?
Okay,
No,
yeah,
that feels too far away.
that does
NFL
feel too far away.
OTA.
It's coming up in like what,
Voluntary off-season workouts.
June?
Where are they at? Oh, NFL OTA 2025. 2025 important NFL dates. There we go. So we're in April.
Hmm.
Uh, April 18th is restricted free agents to sign their offers.
Nice,
Um, April 21st, clubs with returning head coaches may begin off-season workout programs.
nice. Okay, yeah. So it's coming up.
And then April 24th, we have the draft. So that's going to be coming up here pretty quick, too.
Yep.
Um, let's see. May 21st is the Spring League meeting.
Nice.
Where are we at? Key dates in July. July 15th is for the franchise players to sign their tags. And training camp starts July 21st.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So it's all coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah. By the end of, I mean, we're going to get one big thing with training camp. We're going to get a last couple free agent signings. I'm sure there's a few players who are going to move at that point. But if they haven't signed with a team already, chances are they aren't going to make that big of an impact on a team to begin with.
True.
I mean,
True.
Aaron, I don't know if this is controversial anymore or not. Aaron Rodgers is not making any team he goes to better. The team has to make Aaron Rodgers better. He has a good
100%.
mind for football, but he cannot play the game at the level that he used to play at.
Yeah.
The fall off has been we're not aging like fine wine, we're curdling like milk, and it has changed
Oh,
very rapidly.
big time. Hey, from what I understand, though, there are some fans that are out there that still believe in the old guy. I mean, look no farther than some of our friends, even my father, he was pretty optimistic. He wanted him over on the Raiders. I was like, please, no. Please, anything but that.
There are teams that he would be better than any other quarterback on the roster, but again, that's not saying that the quarterback, like he's not making the quarterback room better and he's not elevating the team. He is just more knowledgeable and has better reads than the quarterbacks they currently have.
Yep.
Do I think he's going to make the Browns better? No. Was he better than Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett? Yeah. Like,
You think he's better than Joe Flacco?
I think he's better than Joe Flacco. I think there's a reason that Aaron Rodgers is getting to pick where he goes, and Joe Flacco is
Yeah,
going wherever the money comes from.
that's fair. That's fair.
And by pick, I mean it's selective, but there's more than one team trying to get his services.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco just went back to the Browns because that's the last time he made the playoffs, and he's like, maybe I lightning strikes twice. Like,
Hey, he's right. That's a good little thought pattern he got.
plus any kind of bonuses he gets for starting, he's almost guaranteed to get on that team. That's also
Yeah.
why he went to the Colts because he's like, I bet you I could beat out this rookie to get this job, and he
Jeez.
did. And then they had to
Yeah.
play him again because everybody was like, well, damn, we kind of brought Joe Flacco in to mentor Anthony Richardson, but he's genuinely beating him for this job, so we need to make the competition a little easier. But
True.
that being said, several teams are going to leave this season with a new quarterback. But until the draft happens, it really doesn't matter. You can speculate all you want. But then again, we speculated all last year, and the Chargers took a tackle in the first round, and the Falcons took a quarterback when they just signed Kirk Cousins. So the speculation doesn't matter a whole lot.
Hey, you're right.
So
Yeah, especially this draft, like, let's just have fun with this one, make it standard, no upsets. Like this one lends itself to being a boring draft. So let's celebrate it for being boring, right?
I think we get a hot take here, and that we get a running back taken in the first round for the first time in like forever.
Wow. I would actually agree with you, but
I think it's going to
I
be
think.
Gentry.
Oh, okay.
I'm
That's a hot
sorry,
take.
the man holds first and second place for yards in a college season, and that's him before contact and him after contact. Uh, like, I don't know. Like, it seems insane. The man just doesn't fall down. Does that mean it's going to translate to the NFL level? Well, maybe, but I'm sure there's half a dozen teams right now that are like, yeah, we could chance that. We could take that
True.
risk.
Hey, I think this is just a nod to running back coaches in the college echelon right now. You know, all these young running backs that are running like no other back has we have seen before. You know.
I think this is the start of the resurgence that we get away from the air it out offense to a more run game offense,
Yeah.
especially when teams start to invest in their defense because you just, yeah, we're going to hold the ball, let our defense breathe, but then our defense is going to come out and bother you. So,
Yep.
especially when
True.
you
That's
start to
gonna do a
have
lot.
back to back.
That's going to do a lot
uh
to take away from lateral game, though. You know, it's like people are going to be looking to the side, but not expecting a running back. You know, but I mean, who knows?
That's true. Uh, but I think this is a good kind of transition piece when we're talking about the way the league's moving to hop into some fantasy. Um,
Yeah.
so we kind of talked about this before the pod. I think we're going to go through each position and determine in our minds, and we can talk about it and debate it, if we think the position is something with a lot of depth or a position where you should probably draft a player early to save yourself face.
Yeah.
Um, First two rounds, regardless of feelings about the position, should go running back, receiver, 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 or running back, running back.
True.
That's that's a given because those are your highest scoring points
Yep.
in fantasy and the ones that'll probably where you can have multiple of a position.
Yep.
That being
Also,
said,
also, uh, picking safety over height, right? So running backs that don't traditionally get hurt, you know, so that would be maybe foregoing a CMC, right? Or foregoing a Saquon, right? Depending on the security the receiver might have, you know. So it all depends on
that's
the kind of
true.
scheme you want to work with as well.
So, uh, I mean, we can just start from kind of top to bottom. Want to start with quarterback?
Let's do it.
Okay. I can go first on this one. I think the quarterback is a position right now that you should be overly cautious about. And if you want to take one in the third or fourth round, feel safe in doing so. And that people might laugh at you about it. But if you take a young guy with some talent, like we're talking the Joe Burrows, the Jaden Daniels,
Jones.
yeah, like it will pay dividends in the long run because the drop off right now in quarterbacks is drastic.
Yeah.
Because five quarterbacks later, you could be arguing whether I want Geno Smith or Anthony Richardson starting for my team.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I mean, it's an any given Sunday, so you could have players where like Baker Mayfield put up record numbers last season, could do it
Yep.
again this season. You might
True.
strike gold with that, but Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen have been fantasy gods for the last 3 years.
True.
You probably want
True.
to
True.
lock that up early.
True.
Uh,
What
if
round are we thinking though? Like third,
if mm,
third or second?
No, I wouldn't do a second. I feel like second's too early unless you know. Like unless
Mhm.
someone else is like unless it's like, damn, all of my picks are gone already, which probably will not happen.
Yeah.
You probably still want to lock up your at least one running back and receiver or two of your like scoring positions
Yeah.
because the gap between 1 and 10 for quarterbacks isn't very steep, but anything past that is. So unless
Yeah.
you're just going to hoard quarterbacks and try and trade for a running back later, you probably can get away with like fourth round. If you're like a mid fourth rounder going, early third if your league has high scoring for quarterbacks
Mhm.
because but if you were going third round on a quarterback, it has to be Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. It
Yeah.
cannot be anybody else because
Yep.
those are guys that are doing 40 points in a week. And then
Yeah.
you can justify it because everybody will be like, man, that's too early for a quarterback. And then at week 3, he has 120 points and is like, actually, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you don't get them, and you're looking at, well, maybe it's Patty Mahomes, maybe it's Joe Burrow, maybe it's Jaden Daniels, like 4th or 5th round, you could probably snag
Yeah.
one because again,
Yep.
the difference between Joe Burrow and Geno Smith could be a difference of like 5 points.
Mhm.
So it just depends on where you want to play Moneyball.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel that you should be more concerned about it if you are going for one of the top spots. But if someone steals that out from under you, it's a position where you can kind of just go like, all right, I'll just wait.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, what are your thoughts about the position?
So with QB, right, a lot of it has to do with team dynamics as well. So I think we're kind of talking about it without talking about it, but just to address it, it's Lamar Jackson, why he might have like 120 points in that first week is because a lot of times he can depend on the scramble, and a lot of times he can um, get those extra yards that just tack on to that extra score there at the end. So it's about knowing one, matchups, two, how they play, and three, their lineup for the year, right? And a lot of times, a lot of this is already going to be worked out for you based on their um, point projections, right? Um, so paying attention to point projections and tying in how injury prone they may be or how their offensive line is going to be looking that year. So paying attention to who's signing what on that offense, you might be able to have a little bit more safety on that pick. Like maybe you see, let's take for example, Jaden Daniels signs 3 like D1 um, offensive linemen. They're all stacked up, ready to go. That this was like the line that he needed from last year. You hear about it on the news, and you see he's not being taken by the like ninth round. You know, clean little second QB, kind of to have in your little back pocket. So instances like that, at least with the QB. So knowing one when to take them, which you're right. So like your Josh Allen's, your Lamar's within like that third round, and then having an eye out for your second QB later on, because a lot of times there's going to be panic buy right there, like around like round 4, right? Trying to finish up that QB. But if you find yourself not having a QB by round 5, and um, you see there's a lot of QBs off the board already, you're gonna be fine, kind of getting by on the waiver wire. You know, being
Yeah.
able to pick up a QB in those first couple weeks that will propel you for the rest of the season. That's what I've seen throughout these
Yeah.
fantasies.
And just kind of looking at it just quickly in fantasy, Lamar Jackson is an outlier.
Mhm.
He scored 434 fantasy points,
Yeah,
which is insane.
yeah,
Positions 2 through 10 have a difference of 77 points.
exactly.
So you could take your pick anywhere, and as long as you're better in other spots, you're fine. So you should wait around to get one if you can. After that, it kind of falls off. It drops pretty quickly. So let's see, 10 down through, not too far. I guess 10 through 20, there's a drop off of about 104 points. But
Yeah.
that's really because 19 and 20 has a difference of almost 30. So
Okay.
you could even get away with going down to 19, but when you're getting down to 19, the difference between 19 and 1 is 211 points in
Yeah.
fantasy. That's a difference.
Big
That's a
time.
pretty big difference. And then from that to second place is again 165. So again, it's multiple weeks difference
Yeah.
stats. But I just agree. I think that this is going to be a year where quarterbacks probably go a little bit earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
um,
I feel like the QB position, it's a pretty safe bet this year. Previous years, there's been a lot of kind of question marks around what QB capabilities might be. I think 2 years ago it was at its worst, but now we're finally kind of getting to a place where QB talent's kind of uh, evening out, as it were, except for your Lamar Jackson.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, QB position, it's going to be, your butter at the end of the week. It's not going to be the reason you win, but it's going to be the reason you lose. So make sure it's safe. That's how I'm seeing it.
yeah. Um, so the next spot, I think we're actually going to differentiate on opinions here, and that's okay. Also, I don't know if we're going to be able to get through all of these. This might just be a multi-part series. That's fine. We're in running back. Do you want to
Okay.
take the first one here?
Sure. So with running back, I might be a little biased here. At least from last year, I had Derrick Henry and who else did I have?
You
I
had
think I had
Saquon.
Sam as well. So having those two RBs was the thing that propelled me throughout the entire season. So I went with the RB little setup there in the beginning. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily advise doing that, but it was just too good of a season to kind of pass up a setup like that. Um, this upcoming season, I would have a little bit more question marks around other running backs. Um, I typically go running back heavy in the beginning, so I always go round one if I can help it. Um, Past that, but this is for your star RBs. Past that, you can get by on some pretty juicy news around round 4 and 5. I would say definitely want to stir up those wide receivers. But I feel like 4 and 5 is where you're going to find most of your stars.
Yeah. I actually thought we were going to differentiate, but I also agree. You want to get your best running back you can early on, so your first or second round, if you can. If you don't, and everybody does running back, and you're just kind of stuck, you might as well just sit on it because everybody is around the same. You're going to get the same number of points until you get to like the very late round. I would also say that, especially if you're in a dynasty league, take some flyers later on. Like,
Mhm.
hey, I know this dude's going to back up this guy and stuff like that, or this rookie's coming in and there's a lot of hype about him. You take the swing, because what's the worst that happens is he pans out. It doesn't pan out, and then he just sits on your bench and you just drop him the year following, or you drop him middle of the season. But running back is one of the most, if not the most, injury prone. No, probably second behind lineman. The injury prone
Yeah,
position that
at
exists
least
in the NFL.
yeah. Mhm.
And you will find that very quickly on, people will put together that this is the case, and you're going to start to see players disappear. Like Jerome Ford has been gone in every single dynasty league I've been in. Jonathan Brooks has been gone. That man was injured for 9 weeks coming off of surgery in his rookie year and barely played, but people still had him because it's like, hey, Chuba Hubbard gets hurt, that's our guy.
Yep.
Especially when you start to see players move, like where you start to hear those rumblings of players are going to get moved, they're going to get traded.
Yep.
It might not hurt to take a flyer on him. Like, I would say maybe keeping an eye on Najee Harris, because J.K. Dobbins has yet to play a full season.
True.
So
Very.
looking at Najee Harris out there, he's going to probably beat out that second year back, Vidal, I think is his name. You
Mhm.
don't bring in a veteran running back like that unless you think there's going to be some competition. I mean, you could take a swing at AJ Dillon, who just signed. I think it was AJ Dillon just signed with the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
Saquon is going to get hurt, they're probably going to want to give him some more spells, because now he is does have a better backup.
Yeah.
Places that I am looking at that I think are death for running backs.
Mhm.
Unless they figure out the plan going forward, Bucky Irving should not be one of your top picks. He should be your second running back because the Buccaneers were running a three-headed monster backfield for a while. Then it was a two between Rashad White and Bucky Irving. If they determine that he's going to be the sole lead back, then maybe.
Yep.
Jacksonville is a tough one because even though Travis Etienne runs well, they hate him out there. I don't know what he
Yep.
did, but they hate him, and they are trying to get. Why can I not remember his name right now? Tank Dell. They're trying to get Tank Dell
Yeah.
more touches. Um, if we're looking at backups to pick up, I'm probably not taking the flyer on Zach Charbonnet out of Seattle because even though Kenneth Walker does get hurt every season, it's a mixed bag of whether or not Zach Charbonnet is going to get 40 points or 0 points.
Fair.
Tennessee's a dumpster fire. I'm avoiding everything from there right now. I don't think Traje Spears is going to do anything to surpass. Oh my goodness, I can't remember him right now. The former Cowboys running back, the one that replaced Zeke.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Either way, they're both not moving the needle, and the team sucks.
Yeah.
I am buying high on Achan because they've moved on from Mozart, and I also don't see Jalen Wright doing anything right now to take carries away from him.
Big
I'm
time.
buying high on Josh Jacobs because
Yep.
again, the rookie that was behind him had a pretty serious injury and missed most of the season. So again, they don't really know what they've got. They might use him to give him a spell, but Josh Jacobs is a bell cow back, has been.
True.
I am, and I know this is going to be a little bit of a hot take. I'm not buying high on Derrick Henry right now
Fair.
because he's over 30. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, he's going to get his carries. They like to run the ball out there in Baltimore. I just don't see it being a necessarily great place. And I might eat my words because I was saying this last year. I don't think he's going to be a good running back. And then he went out and he did great. Like, it's a good situation for him to be in, but I don't know if it's a good situation for him to score in fantasy.
Yeah. That's fair.
And then last but surely not least, I'm letting some other sucker eat on CMC. Like,
True. I am also letting some other sucker eat on Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara is it
He's
was like
always popped off
3
early
weeks.
on in the season. He's going to be projected really high in your draft. Don't take him in the first 4 rounds. You know.
But if you can get him later on, he might not be a bad one to take a flyer on because with Derek Carr being hurt, and if they don't get a quarterback, that offense is going to all fall to him. So you're going to get at least 3 to 4 weeks of 40-point games. It's not going to be a full season's worth, but if you can stash him, like maybe not
100%.
bad.
But every single season I see him go in like second or third round, and I have never seen it been worth it past 4 weeks.
Players that I'm on the fence about but could be swayed to take higher: Kyron Williams from the Rams, James Conner from the Cardinals. He always is just methodical, like he kind of plods along, does what he's supposed to do.
100%.
And then the dark horse position that I think people should probably be looking out for is probably Tyrone Tracy out of New York.
Oh,
They don't have a good identity out there, but Tyrone Tracy has shown that he can be a hard runner. He can catch the ball. He was a former receiver in college.
Yep.
It's a good utility back. I don't know if I'm taking him early on, but he's definitely someone that if I'm like, oh man, I'm looking through and we're in like the 6th or 7th round and I really need like a second or maybe even a third running back, not a bad one to stash on your bench because year 2 could be his year to break out. On the downturn, I still think Breece Hall, I'm a little bit skeptical about because he had a pretty down season with Aaron Rodgers at QB, and I don't know if Justin Fields, who likes to run the ball, is going to be a much better option for him. And I'm probably also steering clear of all the hype surrounding the Panthers running back room because I do think Jonathan Brooks will be good. I do not think Chuba Hubbard, though, is going to be bad enough to justify benching him. So you're going to see a split backfield, which means that both aren't going to get a lot because the offense isn't going to get a lot.
Yep.
Um,
And when the
I think,
Panthers do get a lot, it's never typically their run game.
right. And when the Raiders take Gentry in the first round, that'd be someone to watch out for. I think
Sure.
he's going to be a good running back. I don't see him going anyplace else unless the Browns are fully giving up on. Oh my goodness! Why can I not hear his name? I'm just spacing on running backs today. Broke his
Nick?
foot after coming back from the Nick Chubb.
Yeah. hmm
Uh, I don't know like where they're going to be, if it's going to be Jerome Ford, if they're going to bring back Deontay Foreman. It's just going to be a mess of a backfield. So unless I know for sure, I might stash Jerome Ford just because he was the clear lead back. But if I can, I'm picking around the Browns. Like I'm not going anywhere near that with a 10-foot pole. And then you've got a bunch of players in the middle. James Cook is going to be good. Kenneth Walker is going to be fine. No, I'm staying away from Dallas for sure.
Yeah, big. Always.
Browns and
Always.
Dallas are the two teams I'm staying away from for at least running backs, and unless it's CeeDee Lamb, wide receivers. Like, don't touch them.
Big time.
So speaking of, you want to do wide receivers next, or you want to do tight ends next?
Let's finish up tight ends here real quick,
All right.
I like to buy really high on my tight ends. Typically, honestly, like round 4. Just because there's only a handful that is going to be even somewhat consistent through the entire season, you know? So that is your George Kittles, your Travis Kelce's traditionally, your Brock Bowers even. That's kind of what I like to do with my tight ends. And you only need one. You only need one that's going to be your backbone, and then the other one just completely waiver wire that thing out.
I'm actually gonna disagree with you on this one. I think tight ends are dime a dozen for where you're gonna get points, and it really doesn't matter where you take them. It's more so if you're looking at it and it's like, yeah, Sam Laporte is available, and he's probably the best player available right now. I'm gonna take him. So if that's round 6, or that's round 8, might be a bit of a stretch. But if you're not getting the top tier tight end, which this year is probably going to be Brock Bowers, the point differential between George Kittle and Sam Laporta, or George Kittle and David Njoku, or even like Evan Ingram and stuff like that, unless they get hurt, is going to be not that far between. Looking at, where are we at? Let's see, stats for the season for 2024 for fantasy. Looking at tight end, so Brock Bowers had 262 points last season. Trey McBride had 250. George Kittle had 236. Jonnu Smith had 222. Travis Kelce with 195. Mark Andrews with 188. I mean, all right. If we're excluding Brock Bowers, who was the only receiver for that team, 2 through 20 is decided by 100 points. And even then, going down further, they fall off.
That's like half their points, though,
But once you get through 20, you're falling into Noah Gray, Will Dissey, Austin Hooper, like players that aren't getting like any passes.
all year. Yeah.
So I do agree that you only need one. You really don't need two. You can take 2 early if you really want to just screw someone else over in your league. It doesn't matter as much though, because like if you were to tell me that after watching him in Atlanta, Jonnu Smith was going to be the 4th highest scoring tight end playing for Miami, I'd be like, yeah, maybe. I don't think so. But he did. And if you told me he was going to outscore Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews in fantasy, I'd be like, all right, get out of here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right.
I would have bought that, honestly.
If you were to tell me that Sam Laporta would just barely beat out Pat Fryermuth in fantasy points, I'd also tell you after the season he had, there's no way. He
Crazy.
did.
That's crazy. I know, yeah. Yeah, Sam Ford got shut out the whole season.
If you
Yeah.
told me that Hunter Henry was going to be a top 15 scoring tight end in the league, I'd be like, all right, stop fucking with me. Let's be real
That's
here,
what I'm
guys.
saying.
Like,
That's what I'm saying, though, dude. Like, I feel as if there is a substantial drop off, you know? Like, where tight ends are going to get maybe 4 or 5 points that week, and that's gonna be the majority of tight ends most weeks, and they're gonna pop off for, like, 40 to 30 points, on any given Sunday, you know?
right,
Um,
but I guess what I'm arguing is that between the positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, um, tight end, and then the flex position, which could be any of them except for a quarterback, unless you're in a 2 quarterback league.
yep.
I feel like I could get more points by taking another running back or wide receiver earlier on and then just kicking the tight end back
Mhm.
a spot. Do I think that that means that I'm going to be playing the waiver wire a lot more for my tight end? Sure. I mean, but I'm going to be playing the waiver wire for my tight end anyways because the tight end is the one position that is like, yeah, Mark Andrews sucked for the last 2 weeks. Isaiah Likely's doing pretty good. Or, man, Tyler Kraft out there in Green Bay is really popping off. Man, I'm not that tied up to a tight end. Let me get rid of him. Like,
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of trades in fantasy where they involve tight ends,
true.
um, because all of them do pretty much the same thing now, outside of a few where they are the sole spot of the offense.
Yeah.
Um, Dallas Goedert is a great tight end. Fantasy
Yep.
wise, he sucks.
Yeah, he was
Jake
in
Ferguson
season.
had a really great couple seasons.
Yeah,
Sucks in fantasy. Dalton
fair.
Kincaid or Dawson Knox both do their jobs well for the
True.
Bills. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
The I mean the Colts start 3 of them. Which, by the
That's fair.
way, tidbit here: stay away from Colts tight ends. They mean nothing. They literally mean nothing to this offense, and they never will unless they switch up their style.
100%.
So I guess I'm just in a point where it's like
Same
maybe.
thing with the Giants.
Oh yeah, same thing with Giants. They can't keep a tight end to save their life. I mean, if you want to go through really quick, tight ends to keep an eye on. If we're not talking about the big one like Brock Bowers and George Kittle, looking at other teams, Trey McBride was good. Zach
Yep.
Ertz. I'm surprised we're still talking about Zach Ertz being good. Zach
No,
Ertz is being good for
that's good.
Washington. If you're later on,
Yeah.
Evan Ingram is going to be fine. Like he's had a pretty consistent season out in Jacksonville.
Yep.
Pretty consistent career out in Jacksonville. He bounced around the league for quite a bit before ending up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people knew about Jonnu Smith being that high of a scorer, but the offense really relied heavily on him. So could be another one where he's going to get a lot of those quick slants.
Yeah.
Teams I am avoiding with the 10-foot pole. Chargers. Gerald Everett, not going to get a lot of looks. I don't know what it
Yep.
is, but they just don't. They don't seem to feed their tight end well.
Yeah, he's one of those
Um,
tight ends.
Rams with Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee's a good tight end. He's not going to score a lot. He's not going to get a lot of looks. It's going to go to Puka. It's going to go to the running back, Tyron Williams.
Yep.
Um, I mean, I didn't think Hunter Henry was good, but apparently he's a top 12 tight end. I'm still not picking Hunter Henry over there in the Patriots unless they make some drastic changes to their O line and they give Drake May some more time to breathe.
Yep.
But right now, he's one of 2 receivers on that team. So, and the other one's Stephon Diggs, who's also going to be struggling. I don't expect a lot from them right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm probably also not taking. What? I don't know. Justin Fields does like to check down a lot, so maybe I am taking a second look at Tyler Conklin over in New York.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
I know Aaron Rodgers hated him.
yeah,
So
kind of towards the receivers for Justin Fields.
yeah,
Typically, built a pretty good connection.
Mike Gesicki out there with the Bengals. I'm probably not touching, even though he just re-signed and they really like him. They have a pretty deep receiver room, so I don't see him getting a lot of touches.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the Browns tight end. Is it Komet still? Not
Uh,
Browns. Bears.
Bears. Ooh, Bears tight end. I have no clue. It probably is.
Uh, I'm probably not touching the Bears
Somebody.
tight end because DJ Moore, Romo Dunze, and if they keep Keenan Allen are all going to want the ball, and
Yeah.
Caleb Williams just can't throw it to all of them.
Yep.
Tight ends, I think, are going to be sneaky little like late picks that you could steal. Cade Otton. I think Cade Otton from Tampa Bay is a good tight end. He really started to connect with Baker Mayfield and then got kind of hurt, and then they really kind of struggled to reconnect. And he's competing with targets from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but when they both got hurt, really stepped into that role well.
Yeah.
I also think that this is the season that Isaiah likely passes Mark Andrews in snaps. So that might be something to keep an eye on
Yep.
as maybe if we are taking two tight ends, you stash him in case he pops off.
Yep.
And I don't know if there are any other tight ends kicking around the league right now that I'm like, that would be someone I would stash. Everybody else is kind of waiver wire pickups.
Yeah.
I mean, how could we forget? It's Kyle Pitts' turn to get 5 touchdowns this season, right? He's 5 years in. He gets one every year.
Buddy.
Don't buy in. Let someone else buy in on him. It's not his year. Someone will tell you it's his year. It's his time to break out. They've got a new quarterback. They've fixed the offense. It's going to be a better season. It doesn't matter. This is where I talk about the tight ends are a dime a dozen.
It's like, yeah, it's like the Titans, it's like the Giants. I mean, they just don't take advantage of the tight end position. They're not going to use him. He's a star tight end. If he goes somewhere else, he'll pop off. He's not going to pop off with the Falcons.
Eli's wearing rose-colored glasses right now. I just don't see him popping off anywhere.
He's a
I
good
think
tight end.
everybody thinks he has to pop off because he was a first round pick, and I think if he was like a 5th round pick, people would be like hyping him up that he's done really good for his career being a 5th round pick.
Talent-wise, he's better than Travis Kelce.
If you say so. I just don't agree with that statement. I mean, maybe right now because Travis Kelce's older, but
I mean, even like well, they're two different style tight ends as well, honestly. Like Travis Kelce's a glorified receiver, but yeah, getting in there, efficiency at a tight end position, Kyle Pitts has it. That's all I know.
I mean, he does have good efficiency, but he's not getting targeted. He's not getting open. That's the hard part. He has good efficiency because they're throwing it to him because the play was designed for him and he's able to get open.
Yeah,
Don't do it. If you have a choice between David Njoku and Kyle Pitts or anybody else in Kyle Pitts, take the other guy. Because you know what? I bet you everybody else is also now taking the red pill on Kyle Pitts, so he'll be a free agent. You could pick him up later if you really wanted to.
I think
if
I got
I
him
was
like on 10 last year, and it was a good pickup. It was a good pickup.
if I start my season with Kyle Pitts as my only tight end on my roster, I did something horribly wrong. I messed up my draft horribly, and I am looking back and going like, man, what did I do?
I mean, yeah, Dallas Goedert owners would say the same thing, right?
Well, he got hurt. That's true. But
Right?
he missed like 6 weeks on IR because of a concussion.
Yeah.
But I just think that tight ends are a dime a dozen. So you can find one anywhere. I mean, we'll have to talk about it next time, but same with kickers. Like kickers and tight ends are my 2 least important positions on my team. It's like, yeah, okay. If I get a good one, great. Like if I think I'm going to steal one, great. Meh.
Sure.
This is also where this tight end is probably also the position where I take the most risks with rookies because it's like, what's the worst? He gets 2 catches for 10 yards. That's still like 5 points because tight ends score insanely high for the limited catches that they get. If he pops off and gets like 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns, or even just a touchdown a game, he's getting me 12. Yeah, it's like take the risk on the tight end unless you're like, when I say that, I mean like we're looking at Brock Bowers. Like he's taken at 11. People are like, "Oh, this is going to be the guy." Yeah, whatever. I'll throw a pick at him. Like what's the worst that's going to happen? He fails with the Raiders. All right, well then I'm just free agency. I'm like waiver wiring another tight end.
Yeah, hey,
Eh,
check it out. Commanders tight end's going crazy. I'm just gonna grab him. Yeah.
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 Uh, Now I am not buying the same hype on a fifth or sixth round tight end. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it just to me it's one of those positions that if you miss a round where it's like, oh, I should have taken a tight end here, all the good ones are gone. They're
Mhm.
probably not. You probably can get a high mid end tight end. Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Fair.
cool. So that leaves defenses, receivers, and kickers for next week.
Yeah.
You want to give me a hot take before we get out of here?
Ooh, hot take. Mm-hmm. You go first. You go first.
All right. I think after watching Atlanta last year buy high on Michael Penix and then everything falls short for Kirk Cousins, where it's like, oh, that actually wasn't a bad move, even though
Mm,
they're now paying him $100 million to not play for them anymore.
true.
I think another team jumps up. Oh, and like, sorry, also the Bo Nix thing where they took him early and he went well. Another team is going to buy high on a quarterback, and we're going to see a quarterback. I think we're going to see two or three in the top 10, but I think we get five total quarterbacks go in the first round. And I think it's not a quarterback heavy enough class that justify five.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a team like the Vikings, who have just drafted a quarterback, are going to take another one. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
something like that. We're going to get a quarterback controversy in this draft on a draft class that's not very good.
Okay. Hot
On top
take.
of my Gentry going first round.
Oh, okay. I like it. I like it. My hot take here is that I believe the coach from the Bears last year was the problem, and Caleb Williams is going to be a top 10 QB this upcoming year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, yes, that is a hot take that it's all on Matt Eberflus, but for sure Ben Johnson is going to make that defense or that offense so much better.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's going to be slinging. You know what I'm saying?
all
Like
right,
what Baker Mayfield had last year, Caleb Williams will have this year.
are we talking they make the playoffs, everybody's happy? Are we talking deep playoff push? Are we talking Super Bowl appearance?
I think
Winning the
a
Super Bowl is a bit
firm,
good.
I think a firm playoff position. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good hot take. So, uh, does that mean that we get for the first time in a while four teams from one division making the playoffs? Because
Oh,
Lions haven't changed a whole lot, so they're
yeah.
probably going to go. Packers have snuck their way into the playoffs every year, even though they're technically supposed to be in a rebuild because Jordan Love refuses to be a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
Uh, I would put the Bears going, the Bears going in, and then the Vikings have always had a pretty decent team, so they're going to be competing for it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Could that even happen? I don't know if that can happen
I don't think it
because
can
it's two
technically
wild
happen.
card spots.
Yeah.
That
But
did happen last year though, where that division held the two wild card spots. I thought, or did the Rams steal
oh,
it from them?
um I think the Rams stole it from them.
I think the Rams stole it from him. I think you're right. But my point, oh yeah, because that was the major Sam Darnold meltdown where everybody had to decide is he worth keeping around on
Yeah.
Minnesota. Almost had it.
What a heartbreaking situation for the Vikings.
Whatever.
I feel so bad.
He's gonna make Seattle better than Geno Smith did.
Wait, he's
That's
over
my
in
take.
Seattle now?
Yeah, he's Seattle starting quarterback without Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf. So we're gonna
Ooh.
see how that goes. But I think that means that Seattle's gonna go run receiver heavy in the draft, and I think that they're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, okay. I like it. They
So
needed to do that, yeah.
yeah, I mean, this next week when we talk about the rest of our fantasy positions, it'll be right before the
Yep,
draft, and then I'm going on a little trip, and I'll be back after that, and we'll be able to talk about the draft because that's the 28th. Yeah.
yep. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, we will catch you all next time. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, till next
Yeah.
time.
Later.
Later.